Time travelers, welcome back. Today we're going back to 1760. This is when American Revolutionary soldier Deborah Sampson, who assumed a man's identity in order to join the 4th Massachusetts Regiment, was born. This event makes me think of the classic film and the classic children's film Mulan, when the title character um disguises herself as a man just to take her father's place because her father wasn't doing all that well. In 1807, Napoleon's decree of Milan, all neutral countries and allies of France were forbidden to trade with Great Britain. The next event we're going to is with Sir Herbert Burmellin Tree, one of the great figures of English theatre and the most successful actor-manager of his time, was born in London in 1853. The first issue of Vlog, the magazine, was published in 1892 and was initially a weekly high society journal. It became a highly influential American fashion and lifestyle magazine. Now, I haven't seen a lot of magazines, or I should say, I haven't gone to the store to look for any magazines, but I would assume that Vogue is still a thing. This day was a historic day in 1903 when the Wright brothers took their first flight. On this day in 1903, near Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, brothers Orville and Wilbur Wright made the first successful sustained flights in an airplane. Orville first gliding 120 feet or 36.6 meters through the air, which lasted approximately 12 seconds. Moving on to the next event, American jazz trumpeter, composer, and bandleader Sy Oliver, one of the leading music arrangers in the 1930s and 40s, was born in 1910 in Battle Creek, Michigan. In 1970, North Vietnamese delegation to the Paris peace talk called on the U.S. to suggest a reasonable deadline for withdrawal of U.S. troops from South Vietnam. I'm not quite sure when the Vietnam War actually ended, so I can't tell you if it was right around the 70s or if it was before the 70s. Now let's go to 1989, when, after appearing as a cartoon short, the animated television series The Simpsons debuted as a Christmas special. It became a weekly series in the 90s. 1992 brought us the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, which was signed by leaders of Mexico, Canada, and the United States. It was replaced by the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement in 2020. Just 2 years later, in 1994, South Korea downed a U.S. aircraft. An unarmed U.S. Army OH-52 Kwa reconnaissance helicopter was shot down by North Korea approximately 5 kilometers or 3 miles north of the demilitarized zone that separated North and South Korea. This incident threatened to negate the improvement in relations between the U.S. and North Korea following the October settlement of the dispute over North Korea's nuclear program. One of the U.S. chief warrant officers was killed in the crash, the other taken into custody. The U.S. claimed that pilots were on a routine training mission and had probably strayed into North Korea airspace because the normally familiar terrain was covered with snow. Repeated U.S. requests that matter to be resolved quickly went unanswered until December 22nd, when the remains of David Hellman were turned over to the U.S. authorities. Bobby Hale, the second pilot, appeared to be in good health when he was set free on December 30th. Now on to 2000, when the American Geophysical Union announces a project to drill 1.9 kilometers or 1.2 miles into the Chicxulub crater in Yucatan, acute on at least a peninsula, in an attempt to answer definitely whether the impact of the meteor that crashed in the crater was responsible for the extinction of dinosaurs. Essentially, a group of what it sounds like a group of scientists wanted to dig into a crater in the Yucatan Peninsula to see if, in fact, the theories that date back that the asteroid that supposedly destroyed, wiped out, whatever you want to call it, the mass population of dinosaurs, besides like your alligators, your crocodiles, your modern day dinosaurs, if you will. Moving right along to 2009, when a cargo ship carrying livestock sank off Lebanon, the bodies of 9 crew members were recovered, and 35 more of those aboard were reported missing. Then the following year, in 2010, Tucson street vendor Mohammed Bazaar set himself on fire after being harassed by municipal officials, giving rise to the Tucson's Jasmine Revolution and helping inspire the Arab Spring. He passed away from his injuries the following month, meaning so today being the 16th, or I'm sorry, the 18th. So he passed away in January from his injuries. A year later, in 2011, North Korea ruler Kim Jong-il passed. He was succeeded by his youngest son, Kim Jong-un. In 2014, the US and Cuba re-established diplomatic relations that had been absent for more than 50 years. And that will bring us back to our current history and 2023. And we'll see what our current history has to hold for us. Until then.